Hey, it's Paula Coogan here from myquarterlifecoach.com, and I am recording a series of videos just in this kind of World Mental Health Week, just to raise a bit of awareness and kind of tell my story, and hopefully prompting other people to be open with theirs. So today I want to talk to you specifically about motherhood and about the challenges that, I suppose the invisible challenges that many women face with that. I have one daughter. She is 3 years old. Her name is Sarah. She is an absolute handful, but she just lights up my world. She is absolutely incredible as well. I love her to bits. So I would have been pregnant with her in 2015. So I got pregnant in 2014 very quickly. It was kind of, I know I was very blessed, very lucky, that we kind of said, let's try. And within a couple of weeks then I was expecting her. So it was a bit quicker than we had thought. We thought we might have a bit more time to kind of revel in the post-honeymoon or the honeymoon period. But it was good. It was good. So yeah, I suppose the challenges of pregnancy, I'm not trying to put anybody off having kids or pregnant or anything like that. I did personally find being pregnant extremely difficult. I was not a natural, I wanted to be, I desperately wanted to be one of those kind of earth mother those kind of pregnant women. No, I was like swollen hands. I had to get my rings cut off, sawed off my fingers, because I just swelled up that much. My feet went up a shoe size. I was in pain. I couldn't sleep. It was just torture. And on top of that, kind of being self-employed and not really being, just business was crap that year. So money was tight. Myself and Colin were kind of at each other. My grandmother, my nana, my best friend, she had died kind of a couple of months beforehand. I was really missing her. So it was a really difficult period, but what was it? Yeah, I kind of really, I struggled a lot more than I thought possible or thought that I would, and I did seek out some help. So I spoke to, because the nurses were asking me kind of at the visits, kind of how are you getting on? It's horrible, it's this. And basically I was then diagnosed with prenatal depression, which I'd never heard of before. But yeah, that was, it's thing, it's there, it happens to a lot of women, and it can be really difficult. So I wanted to kind of just talk about that, and yeah, it was kind of I'm still annoyed. I'm still annoyed about a lot of stuff that happened kind of during that period, but anyway, I started seeing a counsellor every week just to help me with that, and it really did help. And then Sarah was born, and that was, I have to say, that was incredible, because I found it very difficult. I found it sore to walk and to move, and my hips and pelvis was just constantly sore. And I remember the first time kind of getting up out of the bed after I'd given birth and going, oh my God, I can move. It was kind of the pain, the weight of her had taken a lot of the pain away, and I was ecstatic that it was gone literally that quickly after giving birth. The relief. She was a 9.5 pound baby. So that was good. Motherhood was difficult, challenging. Myself and Colin again. Oh God, I love that man to bits, but Jesus Christ, he drove me mad. And it was not him, it was us. It was just me having to learn to communicate more directly and ask for exactly what it is that I needed, as opposed to thinking or assuming that he should be able to kind of read my mind and things like that. So we had to try and find a healthy balance of that. And Sarah was the worst sleeper in the world for over 2 years. She just didn't sleep through the night. She was waking 5 or 6 times a night. So for the guts of Sarah's kind of early life, and myself and Colin, like, we're very lucky. We have a lovely house, a 4-bed house. I've got my office, but we've got her room. Not her room now, but she was in with us. So what it meant was, for about 2 years, by morning time, one of us would be in a different bedroom. Myself and Colin would be sleeping in separate bedrooms, so that one of us could get a decent night's sleep, and Sarah, the baby, would be in with the other parent. So that didn't do much for our kind of bonding and stuff like that. But what else? Yeah, a year after she was born, so it would have been July 2016, I don't know whether it creeped up slowly. I don't think it did. It kind of just felt like it hit me like a ton of bricks. And I felt like I'd lost my mind. I felt very anxious. I felt very worried. I was having just crazy thoughts, scary thoughts about myself, and it just kind of, it's very difficult to explain if you've never kind of experienced it before, but I would have had, I suppose, depressive, because of the prenatal one, I would have had a couple of depressive times during my late teens and 20s, so I can recognize it fairly quickly, but this was just kind of beyond anything that I'd ever come across before. So yeah, within a very short period of time, straight to the GP, postnatal depression. A year after the baby was born, kind of mix of exhaustion and stress and all of these things. And so that was, another kind of rock bottom, claw the way up. And I suppose, like, throughout my life, I've shared a couple of stories over the last couple of days, so you kind of gotten a glimpse of a couple of what the fuck things that have happened. But I'd say throughout my life I would have been diagnosed with the depression, kind of like prescribed antidepressants maybe about 4 or 5 times. Now, I personally have never taken them. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just pure stubbornness on my part. Some of my friends who have either suffer from depression or who have it at the moment, they take them, and it does them the world of good. But for me personally, I think because I've always leaned more towards as much as possible trying to be as natural as I can, that's kind of always what I've done. But the strange thing is that it kind of, for me to kick off that intense self-care and the grounding that I need, that I know kind of builds myself up, it's as if the doctor's saying, here, take this prescription, is the trigger that I need for me to say, okay, right, fuck this, Paul, it's time. You need to look after yourself, and you need to ask for help, and you need to talk to people, and you need to do all of these things that help you feel better during this. So that's what I did again, and my family are very good that they know that if I say I'm feeling depressed or I'm feeling fucked up at the moment, they know I'm not messing, and they know that so far anyway that I've always been able to get myself together, not quickly, not rapidly, not overnight or anything like that, but slowly, but each day a little by little progress. And I suppose every time that it's happened and I've kind of felt like I've hit rock bottom and built myself up, it's that bit quicker the next time for me to kind of feel like I'm coming home to myself or I'm back to me. Because what I also have is I've got the, what's the best way to describe this? I've known I've done it before, if that makes sense. So I know that I can. I've got the experience of knowing that I've been able to kind of help myself again. I don't know, I think that I'm quite lucky in that respect. I suppose when I was a teenager, it would have been much more difficult, and like back in those days I would have kind of self-harmed with kind of knives and things like that. So like I've been through a lot of it, but I think I do consider myself very lucky that I've pretty much invested the last 10 years of my life learning about me and learning about how the mind works and how the body works and what supports us and what we can do to what tiny things, like what really small steps that we can do each day to look after ourselves and to progress our lives, and what we need to do when things take a nosedive, which they will. All of us, our life's never going to be balanced. It's always going to have ups and downs. So yeah, that's not really sure what the point is. I feel like I'm rambling a bit today, but prenatal depression and postnatal depression are two things that I really just wanted to put out there today to talk about. I'm curious if you've ever experienced it, if you know anyone who has. I think for me as well, especially with, I don't know if it was especially, but for both of them there was a lot of shame. Like I felt a lot of shame, I felt a lot of guilt initially with both of them, because when I was pregnant it's like, how can I be depressed when I'm pregnant? This is supposed to be such a joyous time, and I felt guilty. And post natal, it was kind of like, I have this wonderful child and she's amazing and la da 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 da. How can I feel this way? But that's just the way it was, whether it was something that triggered it or a chemical imbalance in my brain or just pure exhaustion or stress or whatever it was, it was what it was. So I suppose learning to, again, ground myself and not judge myself for feeling the way that I feel, and to just accept it as it is and do the work that you need to do to start making yourself feel better. And that starts with kind of saying it out loud, talking to people. So yeah, that's another little piece of me. Yeah, I do feel a little bit vulnerable kind of sharing this. As a life coach, it's strange. It's kind of like there is that kind of like, what will people think of me? But I kind of like, fuck it. Really, like what I love, the people I love working with are real, honest, genuine women who have messy lives just like me, who have ups and downs just like me, and who need someone who's not going to judge them for, like, I don't get shocked anymore. Who's not going to judge them, and who's going to, I suppose, who understands and who's been there, who's going to offer them strategies and ways to come back to yourself, to reclaim that part of yourself before you lost it. And yeah, just keep making progress. So that's it for today. Talk to you later. Bye.